All right, everyone, we're doing the R33 GT-R full review from an owner, from somebody who's had the chassis for about 6 years and who loves Nissan. I'm gonna tell you the pros, the cons. I'm gonna be unapologetically honest, and you guys are gonna walk away learning something. So first off, the R33 GT-R is a magnificent car. It is a driver's car and a tuner car, and sometimes when you're looking at a car, it's hard to get both of those. This car is fast and it opens up to so much possibilities because it's force inducted. But before we kick it off, let me tell you some great facts. Let me tell you the resume of the GT-R. This is the first car to break the 8-minute barrier in a Nürburgring. Now, either it's Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, the Nürburgring lap time is now the standard of how people compare their cars. And this was the first production car to break the 8-minute barrier. So that's a great segue to tell you what the engineers were trying to engineer this car specifically for, and that's for performance. Now, one of the things that gave me an insight into how the engineers approached this car is that the RB26 came with individual throttle bodies. And let me tell you, that is rare in cars because of the maintenance, how complicated ITBs could be, and also the tunability issues, and just in general, the more cost for a manufacturer because of the parts and everything else. It's just a lot easier to build one intake manifold and just one throttle body and move on, on your merry way. But Nissan approached this car in a magnificent way. So the RB26 is a legendary engine. It's an inline 6 with individual throttles with 2 turbos. And the tunability is just unlimited. I mean, the classic RB sound is one of those that we just associate with awesomeness. The thing about R33 GT-Rs is that they're stuck in the middle of the R32 and the R34. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the R32 is not my style. It's tiny, it's plasticky, and there was a lot of things that Nissan was essentially testing in that car. Now, it has a great racing history, I know that, but if you looked at the recent Donut Media video where they tested all the Skylines, they put the R33 right up there over the R32. And the reason why is because it's just a better platform. It's a better car. Now, when it comes to the R34, these cars share so many similarities that a lot of you guys are missing out because an R34 might be $300,000, but this car is gonna be likely about under 100 grand, and you essentially get the same thing. Now, for you guys who aren't engineering nerds, one of the biggest difference in the cars might be the get-rag transmission that the R34 got, which could handle more power. But guess what, guys? You could match that transmission to the R33. Now, a lot of the parts from the R33 and the R34 are interchangeable. But did you know that the parts for the R32 is not interchangeable with the 33 and 34? They're pretty different. So just to give you an idea that the R33 is one of those fantastic cars that is a great steal that a lot of people don't know because sometimes they get suckered into buying things that people are selling. Now, I'm gonna make a video about the time that I lived next to the person who was selling all the R32s in the United States, and then he took a bunch of money from people and then split. That's what they said in the news. But one of the main things is that people who had R32s were trying to say they were the best cars, but that's because they were trying to sell them. The R33 is by far, on paper, on stats, and not only that, the people who's driven both of them know for a fact they're better. So going back to the R33, let me tell you guys, it is an amazing driving experience. Now let's unfold the word amazing. It's very mechanical. You hear the slight whine in the gears. You actually hear the turbo spooling. There wasn't a bunch of sound deadening. There wasn't a bunch of like, hey, we don't want the luxury feeling that you feel in a Supra. We don't want to hear the noises of the engine inside the cabin. Nissan's like, we want you guys to hear that. That's why we put ITBs, and that's why we want you guys to hear. Whenever you're shifting, you could actually hear the OEM blow-off valve actually recirculate, which adds to the experience. In the Supra, they didn't want you to hear that. As a matter of fact, you had to disassemble a bunch of stuff to even get more noises from the Supra. That tells you the big way that people approach the two different cars and how Nissan was very performance orientated. This is one of the coolest cars, guys. On top of that, this is one of those cars that if you want to play around, you want to add some power, you want to have some fun with it, it's not going to cost you as much as a lot of cars. Like I own an NSX. If you want to add 75 horsepower to an NSX, you're probably going to have to spend anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. That's ridiculous. Now, don't get me wrong, the NSX is a mind-blowing car the way it is. And if you want to go that route, that's fine. And it's a masterpiece of a car. But if you want to add 40 horsepower in a GT-R, no matter what the generation is, put a downpipe on for about $500 to $1,000, and you just got about 40 horsepower. That is why these cars are so much fun, is because they drive great. You could tune them if you want, not at a big cost. And not only that, they're super special. So the R33 is one of those cars that I fell in love with, especially this chassis, the R33. It's big. Like I could put my son back there, I could put a bag, the trunk is humongous. You could do some massive road trips, you could go have fun, you could bring equipment, you could do a bunch of stuff because these cars are big. They're like nice size that you could actually enjoy them as a daily driver. And let me tell you, the love you get is amazing. I get thumbs up, I get a lot of love in this car. So if you're like me who likes to meet people, this is also a great car. Guys, they're not going to make cars like this anymore. Cars are going to have triple, quadruple electric motors. They're going to be computerized, and you're going to miss out on the sensory overload, which is a good thing in high performance cars. And let me tell you, the R33 GT-R delivers things that is just absolutely beautiful for a driver and car enthusiast. And like I tell you, fast forward 20 years from now, cars like these are going to be some of the most loved, beloved, and collected cars. Now, I don't buy cars to flip them or for investments, but let me tell you, a lot of these classic legendary JDM cars will rarely lose value in the future because they're that much loved and they have that much history. Well, guys, I hope you learned something. This is awesome. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for tuning in, and you guys have a good day.